Well, I think Imran Khan was never anti-American, and it was more of a
Okay.
political rhetoric rather
Okay.
than his policy. For
Hmm.
example, when he went to meet Trump, and he
Hmm.
came back and he announced that I feel that I've won the World Cup, he was pretty happy over there. He
Hmm.
was happy to take the relationship forward. And similarly, I think
Hmm.
that the fact that most of our trade is with the European countries
Hmm.
and with the
Hmm.
United States, most of our debt is
Hmm.
linked with them as well. We have quite a big stake, be it economically and otherwise as well, which is linked with these countries, and they are the focus. For the first time in Pakistan's history, the tilt was, it was cemented towards China via CPEC, and that was done by PMLN.
Hmm.
Similarly, I think your question about Imran Khan and maybe he's having a change of heart. I
Hmm.
think there was never a change of heart. It was
Hmm.
always the political rhetoric that he takes locally in the jalsas versus if you listen to his interviews
Hmm.
in international media over there when they've asked him about the conspiracy, he has not answered them in a way that there was a conspiracy. Rather, he has dodged those questions. The Ihsaan program has not been discarded. Rather, it is working via BISP in its true sense, which was, the way it was before, being renamed and relaunched as Ihsaan. And regarding the other, the youth programs, they're going to be relaunched in a much better and much more, practical manner than they were before. And we see there were many discrepancies in the target sets for the youth programs and the youth loans versus what the results were being gained. So all that is also going to be relaunched in a much better way. Regarding
Azhar,
the health cards,
when you talk about when the Prime Minister talks about, no less than the Prime Minister talks about a charter of economy, and then you talk about these programs that were being run by the last government. If you, in essence, agree with them, wouldn't the high road be to, like you are saying, of course, you've said that you plan to continue them, but to continue them, whether you tweak them or not, but politically, or taking the political mileage from them, or so to speak, but the fact that it goes to the grassroots level, is that not the main consideration here?
yes, it is. And we're not, cutting down on any of the relevant programs which are relevant in today's time. We're taking them along.
Okay.
As I've said, that the health card is, we have actually allocated double the amount of a
Okay.
budget in Punjab. Health card was allocated 70 billion rupees,
Hmm.
I think 65 billion rupees in the last year. And this
Okay.
year's budget has announced almost 133 billion for health card. So I think
Okay.
we are continuing on the programs we feel have an impact on a common man who is going through a tough time, and we're actually expanding on those programs. For
On that
example,
note, you have said, and Mariam Nawaz said yesterday when she spoke to the people, she said during the rally that she was going to be found in the midst of her people when they were suffering most. If I can quote, and she said that it doesn't matter. The people understand where this price hike is coming from. That sentiment is echoed by your party. You expect your voter to understand and to vote for the PMLN, to stand by them resolutely. How do you expect the by-polls to go?
I think the people are intelligent enough to realize that the foreign reserves of this country were depleted, and there was a requirement of almost $36 billion in the last financial year, which were not arranged, and the institute which was supposed to lend them or be a gateway to that amount being raised was IMF, and they derailed that program, and
Okay.
they caused this balance of payment crisis. There was a devaluation of 30% in the Pakistani rupee in the last financial year, which has been a major cause of inflation. And today, the fact that we have to take that program on, take it back on track, and with the international super commodity cycle taking place right now, I think the Pakistani people and our voters realize that we have literally saved this country from default, and that is where PTI was taking it. And by saving it from default and by taking these tough decisions, I think there is a correction. We've taken the corrective path for the economy, which is going to lead to a sustainable growth model. And that is what is required. If these decisions were made in last year, if the budget that they gave, the last budget that PTI gave, was a budget which was in line with the controlling fiscal deficit and your current account deficits, and not an election budget, maybe we would not have been facing this balance of payment crisis. Maybe we would not have been going through such high numbers of inflation. And
Right.
it was this. First of all, the plan is the budget. And in the budget, we have targeted that the fiscal deficit is going to be around 4%, 4 to 5% of GDP. We have targeted the current account deficit. So we know that, we have targeted that, given the targets on export and, curtailing down the imports. And this is the roadmap for the next 1 year. When we talk about the cost of energy, this is a worldwide phenomena, and we are not excluded from the world. We're a part of it, and this is a super cycle. I mean, imagine that LNG
Okay,
prices.
let me interject here. We've been talking about media polarization, so I have to, to give the devil its due. Is it not? Were those not the realities 3 months ago, 4 months ago? Is it, anticipating the market situation, the overall trends, the international trends? Are those things not as relevant today as they were 3 months ago?
Yes, as the world was coming out of COVID, there were predictions that the commodity cycle is going to take a crazy turn. This is, I'm talking last year in December, January. This was the predictions, the forecasts, and the futures being traded for were on a higher side. Then you add the Russia-Ukraine war, and things took another, crazy turn, and really got out of control, because Russia is an important source of oil, and both these countries supply a lot of food commodities as well, and that all made things. And yes, these work. We were talking about that, and even when we were in
Why
opposition,
were you doing the Mengai March not long ago then? Why was the
no.
PMLN part of the Mengai March not long ago?
Okay. So the inflation we see comes from, I say that we can divide it into three parts. One is the commodity prices internationally. We don't have any sway over it, how the international trend is going to be. The other comes from your devaluation of rupee, and that can be managed by the government, and it was not managed by PTI, because there was a balance of payment crisis. They could have resolved it sooner.
Rana
And
sahab,